So how were you like networking and getting these early on interviews with people like Bibby and P. Rico and stuff like that?
It's funny because I was just attending. So I'm literally trying to be a media personality at the time. And I'm working as a traffic producer and reporter for iHeartMedia. And on the side, I'm going to all the events, all the rapper events, everything. Like when I interviewed Bibby, it was actually his mixtape release party for one of his biggest mixtapes that he actually has, like, in general. So I was there and I was like one of the people to interview him. And it was like I just stayed on that path. And I realized it early on. I'm like, wow, even though the world hasn't caught on yet, I did a P. Rico interview before he went to jail, like way long ago, and it got over 100,000. And I'm like, dude, nobody is peeping this yet, but I'm already, locked into it. So I just kind of like stayed on that lane because it was just naturally interesting to me. So. And
at this time, while you're covering it, is the Warren Chirac Academics is doing it too as well?
Yes, and you know what's funny about that? A lot of us were kind of like, who is this guy? Like we were all really trying to figure out if he was from Chicago, how he knew people. Like that was like the main question, because I think everyone was kind of tapped into it, listening from the city, because he was just really animated. He had nicknames for everybody. And I think everyone was kind of trying to figure out who he was and how he knew everything. But at the same time, it was so serious, and it was such a, I could tell that he probably didn't live in Chicago, because you could never make light of what was going on. It was not funny. People were dying by the dozens. That was just the most intense time for Chicago. People were dying, people were getting murdered, and it was nothing funny about it, especially if you live there. It was dangerous. So it's not something that I would ever get on YouTube and call anybody the Chirac Wolverine. Like, these are real people that I know. So it
kind of like takes an outsider to have like a lighthearted perspective on it.
Exactly. And that's how we knew he kind of wasn't from Chicago. Like, shout out to Academics, like, no diss, but I think that just living in Chicago, being there, it was too real to ever joke about. There's people dying constantly. So,
but even just talking about it in general, if you were just some kid from O Block making YouTube videos, I mean, you would have been very much in trouble. Like,
exactly.
There's just be so much shit that you couldn't say, and people would be mad at you for even just talking about it in general. And realistically, you probably would have got beat up or killed or who knows what.
So do you think that you had it easier with you being a female doing it? Because at the same time, you had people like Zach TV and all these other bloggers who were probably having a hard time doing it. Did you come across any problems as a female that was doing it early on?
That's a good question. I think for me, I think there's just the energy that I gave off and just being able to connect with people on a real level. I've never had an issue. Never. Like, I've never, everyone's always respected me. I've always respected people. I've never had an issue. I've never been pressed. And I've been around every rapper from both sides, like from 600 Breezy to Duty Low. I've interviewed everybody from Mama Duck to Cash, FBG Cash. I've been on both sides, and no one's ever, like, I've been cool. Everything's been cool. I think it's the energy you bring, really.
You do have a respectable energy.
Thank you.
You don't have thought energy, to be honest. But like, you're telling me,
I want to talk about that too.
But you never had a rapper try to grab your ass, feel up on you, nothing like that even? Oh, okay. That you're used to. All right.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because honestly, my whole thing is, like, I love the Sexy Reds, I love the Young Miamis, and I think there's room for everybody, but I really want to be another example of, like, somebody that other, like young girls can look up to, that's just different. I'm smart. I like books. I'm a journalist. I went to school. I went to Columbia. I got my degree in broadcasting. I love hood niggas. I love drill rap.
Wait, but you date hood dudes?
Not necessarily. I think that it just depends on who you gravitate towards, but I'm not objected to it. Like, I think I like covering different things that other people aren't necessarily talking about. I can go to CNN, and I can also go to Truth Teller. You see what I'm saying?
I have a hard time imagining you dating a guy that's like down to do a drive-by. Just feels like you probably have a little bit too much sense. I'm gonna be just dealing with that, right?
Yeah.
There was a video where FBG Cash said he hit.
Oh my God. So you know what's funny about that?
That wasn't an immediate no.
First of all, I love Cash. Shout out to Cash. Rest in peace, Cash. But, you know, it's funny because I talked to Cash about that certain situation for, like, hours. Like I used to talk to him about all kinds of things, and we used to have like really deep conversations because I'm like, every single rapper that I would end up interviewing, the comments would be like, oh, what did you guys do off? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why do they always say that? Like, what is it? So me and him had a whole conversation about that. And then him being the funny troll kind of guy he is, then he went on live and like laughed about it and tried to pretend like it was more than it was, but no. Like,
I mean, yeah, he was obviously he said he hit Angela Yee too.
Exactly. So you know
he was such
joking.
a troll in general. Remember him talking about like he said Lil Durk told him to go to the Vaughn Memorial and take photos there and shit like that. Like and like I don't know. I probably should have like rejected it more when he said that during the interview, but he was always on some trolling shit.
He was trolling. He was funny. He was always like making you laugh and making you step out of your comfort zone. So he would always do that to me, like put me on the spot, try to make me step out of my comfort zone. And I appreciate that because sometimes I'm like so rigid and like too rigid. So he would just try to make me step out of my comfort zone. It was like me and him literally had a conversation about that for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, oh, these comments everybody always say. And then he went on live like,
And just did
I'm like, I can't believe you just did. But it was like an inside joke and it was funny to us. So.
Wait till you post a photo with me and read the comments.
Exactly.
Just
exactly.
wait. Yeah.
Do people do
we
that
can
to
jump
you?
in front of it right now by making a joke out of it, but it's going to be a million comments of like, I know she's going to be on Plug Talk. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do people do that to you?
Oh, for sure. Anytime I take a photo with a girl, I know that's coming. Yeah.
Because I was watching the Amber interview. Did they say that?
I feel like all the fans know that Amber Rose is too good to fuck me. So I didn't really see a lot of that, but probably they would want that to happen, I guess. I would love for that to happen. That's a great idea.
Actually, let me ask you a question.
Here we go.
Because like with the content, what do you do when somebody tells you to take something down? Like how do you assess that? When they're like, you done did a 3-hour interview. You thought you were respectful. You sat down, you talked to them. Everything was cool. And then you put it up and they're like, take that down. What do you do?
3-hour interview. Why am I taking it down? Like, what's the reason? What is the thing that you didn't anticipate before this came out that you now are upset about? To me, that just shows no respect. It would really upset me. It would really like, I probably just wouldn't take it down unless it was something that was so obvious to me, like, oh, how, because I'm thinking about it now as we go. The other day I interviewed a girl and she starts talking crazy about her baby daddy, right?
Okay.
But she's also like, she's saying his name and where he works. And to me, it's like, it sounds like he's a private citizen. Like he's not like a celebrity.
Civilian?
He's just a regular fucking dude. And I really didn't like the idea of like, oh, is this guy's gonna have a bunch of people emailing the front desk where he works and telling them this girl's talking crazy about him? Now, same situation. If she's saying that about a rapper, I mean, that's a public figure. Like, you know what you're getting into. So I believe the dude's name. I don't know how much it would make a difference, but you know, I try to anticipate that kind of shit. Like if somebody says something that's obviously going to get them locked up or whatever, I'm going to be thinking about that and probably make a note of it before we even get into it. But yeah, taking a whole 3-hour interview down, probably not. It's probably not happening.
I know, and that's the thing. I think that
sometimes
happens.
you got to stand on business.
Exactly.
Because that has been you, I'm guessing. Because with you being from Chicago, I'm pretty sure there's been some interviews where like, yo, take this part out. I was incriminating myself.
100%. I mean, I'll give you an example of one that I really did take down because it was a dire situation. I did an interview with Duty Low and we ended up talking about the situation that he was in with the girl that lied.
Right.
Yeah. And we went into detail about that and they're still in litigation. So I ended up dropping it. He just won.
I don't know if they're still in litigation.
Yeah.
Seems good.
I mean, dude, I always believed him. Like it was just a really bad situation. And
the accusations were so bizarre. It's just like,
weird.
am I supposed to really believe you're this fucking weird, bro? Like, I don't think so.
The screw.
Yeah, I'm not going for it.
Just a lot.
Yeah.
But in that situation, we talked about that, and they were still in litigation, and we put it out. And at the time, you know, it could have messed up his situation. So that was one that I retracted. But if it's something that you just like ended up saying something that you didn't like in the back end, it's like, dude, don't. You know,
the one that would piss me off is when Crip Mac wanted me to delete shit that would be like him talking about a girl. And then obviously they break up like 24 hours later and he's like, take out this, and this about this girl. And I'm like, bro, like what the fuck?
It's
like why are you trying to erase this? Like you have tons of videos on your channel of you with this girl. Why are you trying to act like it didn't happen? Like I found that shit really annoying.
It's kind of rude too. Because it's like you not respecting like
I would never go on somebody's podcast and ask them to delete something that I willingly talked about. It's like
Exactly.
completely foreign to me. Why would I do that? I'm thinking the whole time as I'm talking about what I want to be out there. Like, I don't know. But some people just, they get caught up in the moment. And you feel bad too because some people are fucking knuckleheads straight
And
off the
they say
block.
crazy shit.
And they haven't thought about what it's like to be on camera. And, you know, if they're incriminating themselves, it can be very compelling to delete stuff because nobody wants to be the reason somebody gets locked up.
Exactly.
Nah, yeah,
But
That's
also,
different.
it's so unrealistic to think that the cops are going to lock you up because of something you said in an interview most of the time. But like, there are things here and there where you're like, yeah, I could see how that would be bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
guess it's case by
situational.
case, right?
yeah.